On today's show, big football game tonight and an even bigger trailer at halftime. Shang-Chi gets the big screen treatment, and what happens when you put Prince music in a Mamma Mia-style movie? The Doves Cry. Movie Talk starts right now.
Oh, wow, the Doves Cry's good.
This is what it sounds.
I understand that.
When the Doves Cry. Understood the reference. This is Collider Movie Talk. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Ellis. That is Mark Reilly, and over there is John Rocha, furious that Starbucks Wi-Fi will no longer allow you to watch adult content. How does this change your morning?
This affects my entire YouTube channel that I planned for 2019. What the hell's going to happen to me now? I'm trying to make some money up in this world. Come on, Starbucks. Don't be like that. Let's do this together. Let's get in partnership together. Come on.
Gross.
Yeah, pretty disgusting as a frequent resident of Starbucks around the Southern California area. Between that and the Tumblr news, it's been a rough day for porn, but if you are a fan of the MCU, you are going to really enjoy today and this week because there's some big things happening this week, or at least big teases. Hey, now we're right back to porn. So, with Captain Marvel tonight, look, everybody knows the Redskins are playing the Eagles. It's in Philadelphia, Monday Night Football. They're probably going to have Stallone come out and ring the bell before the game and get the crowd hyped up. Rocha and I are not on the team of the Eagles, but we're all on the team of Captain Marvel because word is we're going to get to see that trailer probably at halftime, I would surmise that, along the same lines as what Monday Night Football. They're part of ABC, ESPN. They're all owned by the mouse. So like when we saw the Force Awakens trailer at halftime of a game, or we saw the Last Jedi trailer, so too with Captain Marvel, a fitting platform for that new trailer. We also got a really cool poster. So Captain Marvel making all the right moves as far as the promotional rollout and the timing, John Rocha.
Yep. I think it is. I think because we're going right into Christmas. This comes out before Avengers 4. You want to get people hyped up, get excited. Rumors about an Avengers 4 trailer coming this week. If this is Marvel Week, it's a pretty good Marvel Week to start December in this way. I actually love this poster. This is such a great, just fire, electricity, vibrancy, power right there. All the bright colors right behind her. And then you get allusions to the ships, allusions to the lands we might be seeing and visiting, planets, what have you. So to me, all around this works. And it has a slight American vibe to it. She feels a little like a Captain America type vibe to it behind it. I like it. The power, it's shot from below. So she is standing over you strong and powerful. And so I dig the whole poster. Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Brie Larson, so I love that she's doing this role. To me, all I think when I look at this poster is they heard that some people were complaining about stuff from the first poster and the first trailer, and they wanted, no, we're going to show the electricity and the vibrancy that this character can have. Here's a poster for you. And I hope the trailer does that tonight as well. And the Redskins as well. A little vibrancy would be nice.
Yeah, well, we get Chris Thompson and Jameson Crowder back. But, Reilly, on the account of the poster, it certainly does have a kinetic quality. I will echo Rocha's sentiments there. And I know you unfollowed Rocha a long time ago on Twitter for obvious reasons. I saw Rocha tweet about this poster, and one of the things he did note is that you see a lot of hints as to things that you might see in the movie. Do you do deep dives into posters like this, or do you just more take it at face value and then move about your day?
I take it at face value. I move about my day. I love your passion for the poster. I like it a lot. I like, that we're seeing her powers kind of manifest, in the poster. I'm looking at the trailer. Like I always see when these posters drop, it's like, okay, here comes the trailer. That's what gets me excited because that's the rollout. They do this. They're tipping their cap. Here we are, Monday Night Football. We're gonna second trailer. This is gonna be the one where you get a little bit more story. Maybe we get some Avengers 4 references. I don't know. Maybe we get some Easter eggs. I don't know. I just love the idea that we're getting a new trailer for Captain Marvel. We're gonna see her kicking some ass. We're gonna get more of that, probably footage. We're close. We're getting close. Yeah, this is a great thing to debut in December. Comes out in March, so we're talking 3 months away right now. We're having some Captain Marvel, and man, if we get Avengers 4 this week as well, this is a good week to be a Marvel fan.
Yeah, is there some sort of science behind what they're doing with this rollout? I mean, it's very jammed together trailers, but again, it's the MCU, and people are going to glom onto this stuff. So with Captain Marvel, you have somewhat of a captive audience. It's going to be watching football anyway, and I'm very interested to see what the reaction to this trailer is, but we're not going to have a lot of time to digest just that because where it is later in the week, you are getting that Avengers 4 trailer, which I got to be honest, I'm not sure what everybody's expecting to see in the Avengers 4. They can't give away, and it's like you're going to see Thanos sitting in his cabin, probably doing a voiceover. You can't show any of the people that disappeared. You're going to show the people that are still there, maybe teaming up on some sort of mission. I just prepare to be let down, I think, with that trailer. With the Captain Marvel trailer, just you can show me a lot in that. I don't want to see a lot from Avengers 4, but with Captain Marvel, I want to see a lot of action. I think you're going to have a nice upbeat tone to it, maybe for no other reason to balance out the tone that you could get from a Avengers 4 trailer.
Well, I think it's smart because they're rolling out in December. It's Christmas time. People are getting psyched up. They're in a good, euphoric mood. You know, goodwill towards all women and men, and they're all into it. So it's a good time now to get involved with this Marvel stuff, get into it. You got Captain Marvel leading this thing, and I think they're dropping it. And of course, this is all speculation, but it feels like to me they're dropping this trailer now so that when she appears in the Avengers 4 trailer, it's like even more of a double whammy that you have this Captain Marvel character kind of moving into pole position as possibly leading the Avengers now post Captain America, post Iron Man so it seems to me this is the way they're rolling it out in December, and it's smart. Like I said, it just feels smart. Now, if the Avengers 4 trailer doesn't drop, then maybe she might not appear. Maybe they'll save her appearance as a surprise for fans. But I just have a feeling this is what they're doing.
Well, dag nabbit, Reilly, if Rocha didn't just win me on needing to see that Avengers 4 trailer, I take back everything I just said because you're right. If Captain Marvel shows up, it's like, now we get to see her in these two movies. Do you think she would make an appearance in the Avengers 4 trailer? Do you think you hold that back?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm wondering about this Avengers 4 trailer. Could we maybe get Thanos narrating, like your point, and it's just kind of playing some clips from Infinity War, kind of like recapping, maybe we see some of the heroes fallen, and then there's like one money shot. I don't know, but the more we talk about this, it isn't confirmed exactly that we're getting this Avengers 4.
Don't tell me we got to go another week with speculating when we're going to see it. Just come on.
God, I hope not. It's just, everything around here is all around Avengers 4, but I'm curious. I really am. I'm curious why it's so close to Captain Marvel, if that's the fact, because they're selling Captain Marvel right now. They don't have to sell me, Brie Larson, Marvel, but they're selling it to audiences that might not know the character. Do you then want to completely overshadow that with Avengers 4, depending on what the footage is? Because that will take the conversation for the next few weeks. It really will. So I don't know. Does it work that way? Playing devil's advocate, I know I'm probably getting yelled at.
It's fair.
But I am wondering, just because we haven't had it confirmed yet, but all signs are pointing to Wednesday, Good Morning America.
It is a little close next to each other.
It's close next to each other.
But it does feel like they're looking at what last year brought them. And the fact that Black Panther never felt overshadowed by the looming presence of Avengers Infinity War coming out, even though we had seen a trailer for that before the release of Black Panther. But you're right. 2 trailers, 3 days for productions this huge, that's a lot. It's a lot of money you're sinking into it. But I think that Disney's well aware they can show Avengers stuff whenever they want to or not at all. And we're going to show it for the movie.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens tonight. We'll see what happens on Wednesday, on Thursday. And you can trust us around the Collider Video Warehouse to let you guys know our thoughts in depth on all of the goings on with the trailers this week. Now, in the meantime, there are actual movies that you can go see in theaters, full-fledged films.
What?
90 minutes, 2 hours. And the one that did the best at the box office this past weekend was, once again, Ralph. Ralph Breaks the Internet. Coming in at number 1, $25.5 million on its heels was another animated film this time of year, Dr. Seuss's The Grinch, almost $18 million. Creed 2, also known as the greatest movie of all time, in my opinion, $16.6 million. Fantastic Beasts, also known as not the greatest movie of all time. The Crimes of Grindelwald, $11 million, and then Bohemian Rhapsody, closing out the top 5 at $8 million. The new movie in wide release was The Possession of Hannah Grace, and that did $6.4 million. Only cost $9.5 million, so it's yet another example of a horror movie at least recouping its budget, if not setting the world aflame. So, Ralph Breaking the Internet, that's kind of what we expected. Creed 2, drop off, but still $80 million, already made its budget back. When do we start talking about sequels for Ralph, for Creed 2? I don't think you're getting a sequel to The Grinch. I think that might be taking the analogy a little bit too far. Mark Reilly, which one of these movies do you think is going to compete with Fantastic Beasts as far as getting more movies?
I think Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yeah.
I can see this is a franchise now. Obviously, it's crossed the 100 million domestic, so that's impressive. By all accounts, it's critically, people like it a lot. Audiences are liking it. I think that's a franchise that deserves another sequel. Creed 2, In a Creed 3, that's a good question, because didn't Sly come out and say that he's retiring the Rocky character? Do you believe him, or are they going to, want? I haven't seen Creed 2 yet, so I still haven't seen
yourself.
it.
Look,
I have not been able to get. I know,
Reilly.
I know.
Stallone had an Instagram post where it was a video, and it looked like it was maybe like at a rap party or something.
Yep.
I mean, it looked like it was just on any corner street in Philly in 1976. But he was talking about how this is maybe the last run for his character. If you haven't seen Creed 2, I'm not going to ruin any of the events in that movie, but I also know that for a guy who's really hard to understand, Stallone loves to talk. So he loves to be in the center of stuff, not in an egocentric way, just he's very proud of this franchise that he launched and has continued to usher, and he's very proud of what the team around him has been able to do with Creed and Creed 2. I could see a Creed 3 and I could see a Creed 4 and a Creed 5, Rocha. Like I said, for every Fantastic Beasts movie I got to see, there better be a Creed the next week because I need something to get excited for.
Yeah, because I don't know how many more Fantastic Beasts movie we should get at this point. Like, honestly, so much of this second iteration of the J.K. Rowling Harry Potter verse has been fraught with disappointment all around. A lot of Harry Potter people did not like that first movie. Queenie and Jacob are the only two things they liked out of that movie. Then you come into the second movie and they really kind of throw you for a loop with a lot of these characters. They retcon a lot of the narrative. They make Dumbledore look a certain way, and like somehow 18 years later he looks completely different, and you're just like, what's happening here?
The movie has already made worldwide $520 million.
We're getting another.
Right, but it's way under what the first film had made overall worldwide by this point. Whereas Creed 2 is already $17 million ahead by this point of what Creed was at.
Okay.
So that's pretty incredible what it's able to, and that speaks to the volume that speaks to the good that was Creed, that this many people that watched it later on video or home on their TVs were inspired to go see the second one. I personally, Mark Ellis and Mark Reilly, would be thoroughly surprised if there's a Creed 3. I would be absolutely surprised.
Surprised, really?
Yeah. From what I saw in this movie, once again, we're not spoiling anything, but from what I saw in this movie, it felt to me like this. And we're done. And I would not be surprised. And it's a really interesting, and you talk about Stallone's post, that was actually a break in filming that day. Something had broken, and so they had a little bit of time, and they filmed him. That's from his heart. And he's speaking, and he essentially is telling you he's walking away from the role. I don't know how you go forward without Balboa. Balboa is your tentpole in the ground. Michael B. Jordan is great as Adonis. He's fantastic to watch, dynamic, really the next person to maybe go to the next level with this, but you can't do it without Rocky. I'm sorry, you just can't. They didn't introduce enough interesting characters to fill the hole that would be Rocky Balboa in this franchise. It just didn't.
I'll just say this to Adonis Creed. If you're looking for a trainer to be your cut man in Creed 3, how about Ivan Drago? how about you pair things up, get Ivan Drago in
What's
there?
Mr. T doing?
Riley, you really got to see the movie. Yeah, Clubber Lang.
What's Clubber doing?
He's
Come on,
probably
man.
got a couple kids running around somewhere. Let me ask you all this question before we move on, though, because Green Book is now in just over 1,000 theaters. So it's not doing great, but it's only playing in 1,000 theaters. So it's made $14 million. It's a movie that got a lot of acclaim right off the bat from TIFF, a little bit of backlash more recently. Is it going to be a movie that's going to catch on with audiences? Is it going to continue to peter out of the box office? And what does that do for its Oscar contending chances?
Well, it's hitting all these lists now, though. I know we're starting to get into the awards season, the nominations. National Board of Review, I think, put it up there.
Yeah,
it won that. So as long as that there is an Oscar campaign, which I think there is, I think there's going to be, and that backlash maybe kind of settles, and people, this movie stands up as people really like it, word of mouth, I think it could still hang around in theaters, more for the Oscar chances, more for that campaign that they want to get it out there. But based on the National Board of Review, I think this one is going to stick around and might be on the Oscar list and might be on a number of like Golden Globes and what have you. The box office, so that bums me out to see that because from all accounts, I've heard a lot of good things about it. And these smaller movies, not a lot of people go see it because we got Captain Marvel. We got all these big movies now. I'm hoping that changes. Maybe the Oscar push will be that thing that changes.
It could change. I think it should. If you want to make an Oscar push for Green Book, this is the week to do it because you got Mary Queen of Scots coming out this week. I think Box Deluxe might be in limited release. So, Rocha, this would be the weekend to expand if you're any film.
I think this is going to be an interesting year to analyze in retrospect down the road. 2018, both First Man and Green Book came with a lot of critical acclaim out of these festivals.
Yeah.
People talked about it's the best film they've ever seen. Mance loved First Man. It's his La La Land. And for 2018. Jeff Snyder and I went back and forth. We've been going back and forth about Green Book since that first trailer dropped. He went and saw it. He said it's the greatest movie of the year, the best movie of the year. I'm like, there's no way that something that looks like a Lifetime movie is a movie of the year. I just don't believe you. It falls into the category of The Help, The Blind Side, these kinds of movies. And I think the public is done with this kind of stuff.
Did you see the movie?
I haven't seen it yet. With this driving, I'm telling you, just from perception, right? This Driving Miss Daisy vibe that it has. I think it's got a knocks against it. People have written, Matt Goldberg wrote up an article about it for .com where he felt it didn't deal with the ideas of institutional racism as powerfully as it should have. It's more of a feel-good movie rather than an actual analysis of the situation. And so there's a lot of a backlash on one side of this film. Yes, there's people who love it and critically want to support it and push it. This is the year to push it, but I don't think it's going to make money. And I wouldn't be surprised if this thing just dies at the box office eventually, like First Man did, which I predicted as soon after that first weekend. Everyone was like, oh no, it'll go. I was like, no, this thing will die. The public moves on quickly now. As soon as you don't catch them, it's really hard to get them again. Greatest Showman is an anomaly to what happens to films now. Greatest Showman came out 9 million. People thought it was going to sink like a stone. Somehow it made 400 million. So, but Green Book is one of those films that for whatever reason isn't capturing the public's attention. And I don't think people are going to gravitate to it at all, especially in the fraught political times we have now. How many people want to go and put themselves through this? I wonder. So in the end, yes, this is the week to push it. But Mark, I don't think it's going to be, it's going to make that money. And I'm concerned that it may affect its Academy Award chances like I am at First Man. I think they might both get nominated, but I don't think they'll come anywhere close to winning. And so that's going to be
First Man and Green Book are leaving somewhat of a gap, and there's another movie that can sneak in there. Keep your eye on The Favorite, because that's in very limited release, but it's making a ton of money at the screenings it has. And then you could just have this horse coming from all the way to the back, or mule in this case, called The Mule, that comes out December 14th. Wondering if that movie gets a critical acclaim, maybe that could start to make some money and make some Oscar waves. Well, we move on to a movie that will be in theatrical release next year, and that's news because it's a Netflix movie. It's called The Irishman, directed by Martin Scorsese, starring the big names, especially if you're a Scorsese fan like Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci. This movie is going to be impressive. There's a lot of de-aging technology, a whole lot of post-production involved in this movie. But the big question was, is this going to get a theatrical run? Because the current rules state you need a theatrical run if you're going to garner Oscar consideration. Robert De Niro came out and said, we've talked about it with Netflix. They're going to do a presentation of our film the way it should be in a theater in certain venues, the best theatrical venues there can be. How they resolve this is, in the beginning, they're going to show it on the big screen. We're talking about big venues where it would play, where it should play, and what happens after that, I'm not sure. So De Niro, probably, like the rest of us, not sure of all the facts, but he knows it's going to be playing in a theater. And I think this is nice for an actor of his caliber to realize that your movie's going to get Oscar consideration because, look, man, it's a big venture with this thing. You're teaming up a lot of heavy hitters. You got the Goodfellas team. You throw some Pacino in there.
Right.
It's got a great cast. The movie, it's based on I Heard You Paint Houses, which is a novel that ties in a lot of the Jimmy Hoffa legacy. So, Reilly, it clearly looks like something that, given the caliber of material and the people involved, would be an Oscar contender. So we've been talking about this for a while, that this is going to get a theatrical run. It seemed like a no-brainer along the lines of like Aroma this year. This is a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. Can you imagine, let's just take the idea that it's on Netflix and do the what-if scenario. Could you imagine if this was The Departed? Could you imagine if this was Goodfellas or The Aviator or any of Scorsese's movies where he decided to make a deal and go shoot this thing on Netflix because it looks like Netflix is like, do your thing. That's so freeing for a filmmaker, especially like Scorsese. So can you imagine then if that wasn't getting a theatrical release? This is a no-brainer. This is going to happen. They want to, Scorsese is beloved by the Academy. He's been nominated a number of times, finally won for The Departed. Joe Pesci winning for Goodfellas. DiCaprio being nominated for all of the movies he's doing with Scorsese. You want these actors to shine, and you want to do it. I remember being on Movie Talk with you and Rappaport and talking about this very idea. How are you not going to put a Scorsese movie in theaters, Oscar or otherwise? You want that experience. So what happens after, De Niro asks? Yeah, I don't know either. I guess we're going to get a limited run, maybe a few theaters, maybe Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, the big markets, and then that'll be out for a few weeks, and then boom, it drops on Netflix.
You say limited run, I say, Rocha, extremely limited run, because if you're Netflix, You want to get two things out of this movie. You want to get Oscar consideration, all the award and all the praise. Hey, a Netflix movie is making waves at the Oscars. You also want people to subscribe to your service who did not subscribe before, who may not even be aware of what the hell Netflix is. In this case, this could bring in an entirely new demographic to sign up for the streaming service. So I think you release it in enough theaters. If it takes 3 theaters to get Oscar consideration, you release it in 3 theaters for a weekend, and then it's only available on Netflix. That's what they want their business model to be. The actors apparently want it to get a longer theatrical run. Where is the median?
Well, the truth is that Netflix had no plans for this, and then De Niro spoke, and everybody got scared, and now they're going to do it because De Niro's kind of a threat. They're going to screen it where it should be. They're going to screen it where it belongs, and I'll tell you that right now.
It was very Trumpy in his quote. We're going to stream the biggest venues, the best houses. It's going to be great.
It's going to be huge.
He was saying this walking around the Netflix board with a baseball bat. He said, we're going to screen it. We're going to put it on all the theaters.
I get nowhere
in theaters. A little bit.
I get nowhere unless it's in the big theaters and the big venues. Huh? Teamwork. No, I think
been some horrible impressions here, and I apologize for everybody.
Hey,
I'm the worst at it. I'm the worst at it.
You were pretty good.
I'm terrible.
I look forward to it coming in the theaters and having some fun with it and enjoying it and seeing but I hope we get some early press screenings and enjoy it and seeing them, because this is a great combination of people. They're all movie stars. They dragged Pesci out of retirement. Pesci didn't want to come out of retirement. Pesci was happy.
And it was tough to drag Pesci out of this.
He said no a million times. Like, no, I can't. Even for Marty. Marty Scorsese, who gave him his career, arguably.
Right.
He's like, nah, I'm good.
But this is his pattern. He also turned him down multiple times for Raging Bull.
Yes.
He didn't want to play the brother. He was like, no, I'm happy being a bouncer here in Philly.
Yeah.
Like, what? We're going to put you in a movie. So, look, this is, I'm looking for this. And that they've taken this long with this movie tells me the kind of technology that they really want to put forward. Because this right here, Pacino's Hoffa is just great. You don't bury me in the ground. I would love to see this with Pacino. Not in Giants Stadium. I'm looking forward to all of this and seeing how it all plays out. But yes, it deserves to be on screen. It'll depend, like I said, what's going to make it qualify for the Oscars. But I also think it'll depend on the hoopla around it. And maybe De Niro, just a little bit, at the Marrakesh Film Festival, was needling them to kind of get a response from the fans and from the public, clamoring for a theatrical release that is longer than the 3 days or 1 week or 2 weeks that it needs to be Oscar qualified.
I got to study the book, but I wonder, even if you just play this thing at a film festival, if this thing just plays at TIFF and that's it, do you still get Oscar consideration? Because I'm telling you, man, Netflix can make a ton of money on this if it's the only way. And even if it has a limited run, not everybody that wants to see this movie is going to run out and see it. They're not going to fly to New York or LA just to see The Irishman, but they will subscribe or steal their kids' password. One other quick question for both you gentlemen, because I have not seen the movie Hoffa with Jack Nicholson, Danny DeVito's in it. Good movie. With something you'd recommend to somebody like me who wants to get a little more into another conspiracy?
I'll tell you, it's an enjoyable movie. There's a great TV movie that was done in the 80s called Blood Feud with William Devane, I think, and Martin Sheen. Also, like they were all involved in this. That's a great retelling of the Bobby Kennedy, Jimmy Hoffa thing and what ended up happening to Hoffa. But that being said, the Hoffa film is good. Nicholson is chewing the scenery a little bit, but Danny DeVito is an enjoyable part of that movie.
Yeah, I like the movie, but yeah, it's a little over the top in the performance for me with Nicholson. Haven't seen it in years, so it might be nice to see that movie again and then see what The Irishman has to offer. But, you know, it's Nicholson at his best for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's classic Nicholson, but... You know, it's a little bit forgettable on my end.
He really chews the hell out of the scenery in Wolf.
God.
I got Wolf a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I still like watching the movie, but my God, he's going for it.
Oh, yeah.
That scene in the bathroom alone with Spader.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Just marking my territory. Well, we want to remind you guys, we got a whole lot of fun content for you to check out. We're talking about awards on this show we have for your consideration. There's some cool stuff. Check out the Justin Hurwitz interview, and they had a conversation on the most recent episode about, like what Reilly was saying, the National Board of Review have their list. The Gotham Awards, I think, just happened. There's the New York Critics Circle. had their awards. So you're going to start to see that more. And the place to catch all that breaking news and predictions is For Your Consideration. And you can also check out this morning show, Collider Sports Time, hosted by that young man right over there, John Rocha.
Hey.
What was the biggest story in the world of sports this week?
Well, the firing of Mike McCarthy. The Packers fired him right after the game. That's pretty much unheard of, especially for an organization like the Packers, which is very much it's a fan-owned team. They don't do these kinds of things, these big splashy events. But our own Mark Murphy from the 80s Redskins. Former Redskins safety. Pastiest guy you know. He took care of business and got rid of Mike McCarthy. That was big. And we also talked the Kareem Hunt stuff. We had a little bit of the interview that we took out from the ESPN interview. We discussed it with Taylor Bisciotti from the NFL Network. She came and joined us again. You guys have seen her on the show before. A lot of good fun with her, Matt Nost and Makuga. And we also argued over college football. Should Georgia have gotten in or Oklahoma? It was a big, heated, spirited debate, which I enjoyed.
Tough call, but I think they made the right call. And Mark Reilly, Collider Live continues to chuggle. Had it this morning. We get it on Tuesday and Wednesday as well.
Yep, we got some good stuff on tap. We're going to talk about Captain Marvel if it drops, of course. Get the crew's reaction. There's going to be fun and games, I'm sure. That's the show. We might talk about whatever we want.
You just seem like
and if you want
your producer sometimes, where you just have you have no control over what happens on the show.
I have zero control.
You embrace your role.
I embrace it. I'll be the guy. It's like when Anakin and Obi-Wan are trying to land the ship in Revenge of the Sith. I just got to steer it, and maybe I'll have an astromech droid that can help me out. That's about it.
3 words for you. Stay on target.
There it is.
Our next story involves, we're going back to the MCU, but in a brand new way, and that would be with this announcement that Shang-Chi is going to be its own movie. This is going to be a film franchise. This report comes courtesy of Deadline, and it's very exciting because it's going to be Marvel Studios' first Asian protagonist on the big screen. That's the lead of the movie. Now, this was originally a 70s comic about a man who's trained in the arts of martial arts from his father, but then his father, Fu Manchu, goes to the proverbial dark side, I guess is what you would say, and then the son goes against the father. And that came out before Star Wars, so maybe George Lucas borrowing a little more inspiration from that on top of the Hero with 1,000 Faces and Flash Gordon and all that stuff. So the good news about this is that you have an Asian American, Dave Callahan, he wrote, I think he helped write The Expendables. He's done a bunch of TV stuff. I think he did a punch-up of Wonder Woman 1984, too. Is going to be writing this. So it's just another way that Marvel continues to expand, continues to get more diverse. I think it's a nice cue for everyone. And it's the MCU, Rocha. This is Marvel Studios, and they're fast-tracking this production. What does that mean when you hear they're fast-tracking it? What does this pretend to as far as when we might see Shang-Chi?
Yeah, it's hopefully the next 2 to 3 years, probably 4. But I like that they're fast-tracking this thing. I like they're getting this in motion. It's exciting to me. I think on the heels of what we see, and I know this is a Sony property, but on the heels of what we see, the buzz that's coming for Into the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales, half black, half Puerto Rican character, getting this kind of attention the way it's going, I think is exciting all around. We're changing as a culture. We're accepting more and more of this in our media, which I think is fantastic. So we heard Silk being announced a few weeks ago for Sony as well, being related to the in the Spider-Man universe they're trying to create there. Venom being successful now lifts all those boats and makes it all possible to happen now. So this is great. And Shang-Chi is a fantastic character. This idea that he's Fu Manchu's son and is influenced by the good guy to turn on his father, and now this is an eternally long battle between father and son. He works with the Avengers. He works for Heroes for Hire, which those shows have just been canceled by Netflix. What does that mean? He's also dealt with Spider-Man, so we could have Tom Holland swing into this situation, and he's also dealt with The Thing and the Fantastic Four, so we see that going into Marvel. So there's a lot of boxes that this character touches, or checks rather, and so that makes it exciting to see them going forward with this. And yes, don't forget, this guy also, Dave Callahan, did Jean-Claude Van Johnson. What a fantastic show with Jean-Claude Van Damme there on Amazon Prime. Co-creator. So give him some love there.
I'm the world's biggest Van Damme fan, or maybe I even can't call myself anymore because I have not seen Jean-Claude Van Johnson, but I hear great things.
Genius.
I need to check that one out. Reilly, the writer of that TV show, the co-creator of that TV show, working on Shang-Chi, and I think this makes sense on multiple levels, not the least of which is that we don't know what's happening after Avengers Infinity War 4, but probably going to need some new heroes to
But is it the MCU or is it Sony?
Well, it's Marvel Studios. Studios. So
Marvel
we don't know if
Studios.
it's actually going to be tied in to the MCU.
I would love to see this be tied into the MCU. I think it's time that we have our first Asian American superhero, what have you, because we're at a period in Marvel now where Marvel can put up whatever movie they want with the branding of Marvel, and people are going to see that. And that is the best case scenario for a lot of these movies, finally getting these lesser known characters their due, get people involved that can, get these kids that are out there, like we saw with Black Panther, where they're looking up on the poster and they're seeing me up there. This is our time now to do that, to open up the floodgates, because these lesser known titles that even I go, I haven't seen this. I love Kung Fu movies. Marvel? Okay, I'm going to look into this. Man, let's do this. So I want to see it in the MCU. I could see it working at Sony as well. I mean, they are. You mentioned Silk Spectre, or not Silk,
Yep.
just Silk, and the various spinoffs that we are now going to get because of Venom doing so well at the box office, which surprised everybody. Now these movies, Morbius is going to happen. I bet we're going to get Black and Silver back on track, and a number of those things.
Silver and Black was kind of shelved to the side, and I think the big question here, it makes it very hard to be a prognosticator of these things, where characters are going to land, because yes, Venom did so well that it proves you can have a standalone character, even one that we associate with Spider-Man, that doesn't have to exist in the MCU.
Yeah.
However, you also wonder if Marvel was just sitting back and saying, Venom, you made enough money, you can come play in our sandbox.
Yeah.
So do they use this as sort of a testing ground? Do they see Shang-Chi do his own thing, and then if the movie is successful, we could use you over here? And I think it could work either way if it serves the story.
I think if anything, Venom showed Feige and Marvel that you can get involved in this situation now. We've made money. For whatever reason, this film really got people in the theaters at this level. So why don't you come and maybe do a little consulting as we go forward on this universe, so then characters can go in and out of this universe as we work out the deals and negotiate. That excites me overall. But Reilly, you remember the old Justice League? This is DC now. Justice Friends, the Friends of Super Friends. What did we have? We had El Dorado. We had Apache Chief. It was an international. We had was it Black Lightning, Black Falcon? We had an international, multiracial team of Justice League superhero friends. We even had a monkey. We had Gleek. So like everything was there. So I'm excited that you see now Marvel understanding they need to expand behind a predominantly white team to go and look other places. There are superheroes in other areas of the world now that can come together, and you have an international team. That would be badass, and we could have a shot of international Marvel superheroes that rivals what we saw in the first Avengers film. When they do the spin around of all the Avengers, you could see an international team, and hey, some Latino superheroes would be nice. I know the Blue Beetle thing is coming on the DC side. Marvel, let's find some people, for God's sakes.
Well, on the superhero front, I wanted to update y'all on our first story. We're talking about the Captain Marvel trailer dropping tonight. We're still not sure about that Avengers 4 trailer. Steven Weintraub, Collider Frosty, and you can follow him on Twitter at Collider Frosty. He's a pretty good source, and he's been talking very recently in the last hour just about how he heard the Avengers 4 trailer was dropping last week, and then he had heard this Wednesday, and then he heard it might be moving again. So we might not get it this week, might get it this week. I hope we do. It says, look, he's tweeting, it's a situation that keeps changing, okay? He's not, I know Frosty, he's not trolling us. He's just saying, don't get mad. You're going to see a cool trailer tonight. And he said that he's willing to bet big money, and he just tweeted this, that Disney moves the Avengers 4 release date so it is day and date around the world like it was last film, because that helps not only with uniting it as far as the release goes, but also it assists with protecting against piracy. So again, very fluid situation, but if you're not following on Twitter, Frosty, at Collider Frosty, damn good source of info just for stuff like this. Yeah. Our next story is going to make John Rocha very happy, I think, and that is because Bumblebee is going to be talking in the movie, and not just talking like the radio using bits of songs to piece sentences together. It's going to have a voice, and that voice is going to be provided by Dylan O'Brien. This according to producer of the film, Lorenzo Di Bonaventura, saying that, hey, you know what? Look, the simple logic we employed is that the longer-term implication of having a voice is different, but short-term, they're resetting the mythology of who Bumblebee is. So to them, it seemed appropriate to, quote, get the chance to hear what he sounds like. Something we were talking about just before we turned the cameras on and said hi to you fine folks is that I brought up that I might miss the fact that you're using fun pop music to express your thoughts. I thought that was a cool toy trick that they used in the Transformers movies. And then Reilly comes out, Rocha, and says, well, maybe that's still the future of Bumblebee, but he's talking in the meantime, then something happens where the only way he can communicate is through the radio dial. What say the Rocha?
Certainly possible. I like this idea. I like Dylan O'Brien. He came in, Perry interviewed him on one of our one of the interviews things we had set up here at Collider. I enjoyed his work in American Assassin. I like him as an actor.
He's good in the Maze Runner movies.
Yeah, Maze Runner movies is very good as well. This is an interesting choice, though, don't you think? This is Haley Stanfield, 18, 19 years old? He's not that much older. Is this going to be like will it have romantic vibes? Will it have, I know
Get out of my dreams and into my car.
I'm just saying the trailer had the boy and his dog type of vibe, but now you throw in someone whose voice is kind of age appropriate, so it may have a little more tinge to it. It may just be friends and it's great and it communicates.
She's riding to the prom in the car. The car is not her prom date, John.
Hello,
did you just go there?
I'm just saying there's
robot.
I wonder if
human?
anything. No, but it doesn't mean that had to consummate the man. I'm saying that it could be like a friendship that's
At
deep.
At some point in my
life,
life, I may have been romantically attracted to a Dodge Viper. The blue one with the racing stripe. I can understand having longing feelings for a car like that.
You never know.
A yellow Camaro, is that the right mate for Haley Steinfeld, Mark Reilly?
Look, I found some of those women on V attractive back in the 80s. So, they're aliens and lizards. Come on.
No, I get what you're saying, Rocha. I think that there could be like, for lack of a better word, a romance, but in the best friend kind of.
Right, exactly.
Toothless and Hiccup and How to Train a Dragon. I've been saying this. The boy and his dog storyline and all the tropes associated therein are some of my favorite storytelling tropes, because I love that. It's like it's an odd couple working together to figure this out. Dylan O'Brien being the voice, I love this idea, and I said that you could still hit the continuity in the Transformers movies, that maybe if this movie does very well, which it looks like it's going to do, and it reinvigorates the franchise, and we get a sequel set in the 80s still with Bumblebee, more Transformers, another movie, and then something big happens, his voice box is damaged, and then you're set up for Transformers. I can see it happening. I think bringing in, to your point, a young person for that voice to complement Steinfeld's character is interesting, and Dylan O'Brien coming in and doing that is a great choice in my opinion. I just don't know what he sounds like. That's what I actually like about this. I think of the actor and I go, that doesn't really fit for Bumblebee. What is he going to do? How is he going to perform this? What are the voice modulations are going to do to make this sound like a Transformer that we could, like Peter Cullen with Optimus. Right. Oh yeah, there's our Optimus. We'll see.
I mean, I think that's what you want, is you want a voice that offsets the epic, dramatic gravitas, if you will, of someone like an Optimus Prime or a Megatron. So Dylan O'Brien, I couldn't. He's a great actor. I couldn't pick his voice out of a hat.
No, me neither.
It doesn't seem that singular and identifiable. Like I can't just hear it. It's one of those things. When you're seeing an animated movie and you see a character in there and they have a voice, and you're like, damn it, who is that? This is going to bug me. I'm not going to be able to enjoy the rest of this movie. Right. I'm going to try to figure out who this actor is. I was like that with one of the Peter Parkers from Into the Spider-Verse, not Jake Johnson, and I was like, damn it. So I'm glad that they're doing this. I think this is a cool method, whether they continue with this voice or not, or there is some sort of thing that happens with the voice box. I like that it's an identifiable actor, but not somebody where you're like, oh, that's definitely Nicolas Cage doing that voice. Like it's nice to just have a more generic voice.
Yeah,
right.
No slight to Dylan O'Brien. It's just not everybody's voice is all that stand out like that.
Yeah.
You know. So I feel like I insulted the kid. I really didn't.
No.
It's a fine voice.
We're with
there.
you. No.
Fine
you
voice.
didn't insult him.
Well, we got one more story, then we're going to save some time for your live Twitter questions. So go ahead and get them in right now at Collider Video. Use the hashtag Collider Movie Talk. Our last story is about Prince. Well, there's been rumors forever that you're going to get a Prince biopic along the lines of a Bohemian Rhapsody. It's going to come not in that form, at least not right now. What we will get is a Mamma Mia style Prince movie. What I mean by that is that there's going to be a standalone narrative that does not involve Prince. It's not a biopic or a quasi-biopic. It's simply a story that is going to be inspired by Prince music, and you're going to hear Prince music throughout a lot of the same way where you hear ABBA throughout the Mamma Mia film. So this is Variety breaking the news that Prince's estate has been looking at interest from several different studios, several different iterations of a Prince story. John Rocha, is this the right way to get Prince's music out there in the world posthumously?
Let me tell you something.
Oh boy.
Prince introduced me to so many things with his music. So many things. And so I have a special attachment and love for Prince. I saw Purple Rain in the theaters. I went to see Under the Cherry Moon in the theaters, and that is a terrible movie. Graffiti Bridge, not much better. But the music has always been the thing for Prince. All the way to the end, the music has been incredible, inventive, vibrant, sexy, powerful, life-changing music. Prince's estate is doing this, not Prince. You couldn't even find Prince's music videos on YouTube until he died. This bothers me. I get why they're doing it, as they're inspired by it. They love his music, blah, blah, blah. But we saw that with Across the Universe. A lot of people hated that, what Julie Taymor did with the Beatles music. I'm not one of them, but I know a lot of people did. But with Mamma Mia, I guess that works. But if you give me a Mamma Mia Prince film, I'm going to lose my damn mind. It better be R-rated. Prince was R-rated, son. So if you're going to do a Universal film like this, it's inspired by Prince's music, you better do something R-rated. Don't give me that nice, happy shit that he does. You got to go deep into controversy. You got to go deep into, if I was your girlfriend. You got to go deep into Arms of Orion. You got to go even deeper back to the 70s stuff, which was like, was it Lover? I Just Want to Be Your Lover, Pink Cashmere. There's so much to explore with his stuff. It's very sexual. So I would be surprised that they do a Mamma Mia style movie based on Prince's music and then go real PG-13 with it. I think it would be an insult to his legacy, and I hate that his estate is doing this. Prince would have never agreed to this, and it's frustrating to see it happening from people who just want to make money off his name.
I think this could work. I think it could work. Because I don't know what the story is, and I don't know who you're casting in to tell this story. And I think that's going to be the big question mark down the road. But Reilly, Rocha does bring up an interesting point here is, would you be able to do this movie R-rated? Because my gut tells me they're going to do this Mamma Mia style, right, where it's going to be a PG-13 movie. It's going to be more of a family. And look, you can do that with Prince music. It just doesn't feel like you're honoring the true legacy of the artist fully if you only go PG-13 with this particular artist.
Yeah, I can't see it. I can't see a PG-13. All your points, Rocha, thank you. It's passionate, and I agree 100%. Prince is an artist that took chances. He didn't give a shit. He did what he wanted to do for music, for what the message was behind his music. He was somebody that broke barriers, and to put it in a PG-13 kind of musical romp, it just doesn't make sense to me. I think you go the Bohemian Rhapsody route first. You do a biopic with his music. You go deep on the character. You can maybe find an actor who can portray this, and who knows where it could go from there. And then years down the line, I'm talking 20 years down the line, when the music has really infiltrated the national conscious, where more people are introduced growing up to his music, like Elvis, Beatles, all these, icons in the industry where you're like, yeah, everybody's heard of them. Right now, we just lost the man, and it feels that way. This sullies that to me. I don't want to see a bunch of young kids running around in love and singing When the Doves Cry and making it more about a love ballad for them and not what he was truly singing about. It doesn't make sense. Now, I'm judging it only on this. If they're going to do something different that is a little bit more Prince-like, a little bit more rock and roll, go R-rated, maybe I can get behind it. But this just sounds like a cash grab.
Yeah, the same guy that did The Most Beautiful Girl in the World did 5 songs. Just go watch Beautiful Ones from Purple Rain. Beautiful. Watch him gyrate on the stage.
Hello.
Look at Vanity, and there is power in his music. He enjoyed making music that messed with the status quo and the norms and the puritanical nature of our society. He enjoyed injecting sex, legitimate sex, into rock and roll. So to see that be a Mamma Mia movie drives me out of my freaking mind.
Yeah.
You could listen to Little Red Corvette, and maybe that inspires Haley Steinfeld to look at her Holy
But that's what you're going to get. That's what this movie's going to be. They're going to be
sleeping with a woman who sleeps with a lot of people.
And they're going to, if they're going to water this thing down, they're going to be singing Little Red Corvette as the dad buys the teenager a new car.
How are you doing the condoms line?
Yeah.
How are you going to do that?
I don't see this working in any way, because it's just going to be cotton candy. It's going to go in sweet, and it's going to give you a stomach ache.
All right. You stand in the way of love, we will smoke them all. Gonna do a live Twitter question.
Damn right.
First, want to remind y'all that, like we said, you got tomorrow on the show, you have, or on Collider Video, you have Collider Live. You got the Schmoedown dropping, some new Schmoedown announcements coming up pretty soon. I have some tour dates you can check out at markellislive.com. And The Witching Hour, they're going to have a review this week of Night Flyers, a new series from the mind of George R. R. Martin. I just saw a billboard for that.
Yeah.
And I'm actually, I got to check out The Witching Hour. I got to see if that's worth watching or not. I know, I'm serious. I'd never heard of the show before.
Best plug I've ever heard. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, the show or not the Witching Hour?
No, I like The Witching Hour. I'm saying that's why I'm listening to Witching Hour, because I don't know about Night Flyers.
Oh, yeah.
I know about Witching Hour, I just don't know about Night Flyers.
But you know about Sexy Mother Effer from Prince. That's what I want to know.
Yeah,
that's right.
Clearly, the way I dress, I know how to turn it up when I need to. Okay, Jonathan Caro kicks us off, and he's short, sweet, to the point. Favorite De Niro movie? Oh. And then he says to the Rocha says in particular, he hopes to hear a top 10 De Niro Scorsese list.
Oh, yeah, that's not bad.
So.
There have there been, I guess they've been 13 collaborations, maybe.
Yeah.
I think he's talking De Niro's career or Scorsese's entire career.
Oh, that's a Scorsese movie, definitely.
But your favorite De Niro movie?
Oh, boy. Is Bad Grandpa off the
Bad Grandpa, it's on the table.
It's on the table.
You're more than welcome to take it.
You know, it's like the only thing that keeps coming to my head is because we just revisited Godfather 2. Mm-hmm. He is so good in that movie. He's like, talk about gravitas. Yeah. I mean, he walks in when he goes back to Sicily.
Yeah.
Back to meet his maker, so to speak.
Antonio Nini.
Yeah. Oh boy. So there's that. Godfather 2 is one of the best, but I also look at Raging Bull.
Yeah.
Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver might be it for me. I mean, it's those three in particular, because I think Goodfellas is such a fantastic performance of his, but that his performance in Goodfellas, you need Pesci there, you need Ray Liotta there, you need all those components there. He stands out for sure, but in the way he stands out, a Taxi Driver, or Godfather 2, or Raging Bull, those are the three. I'll go Taxi Driver.
I have to go Raging Bull, because that's when De Niro went next level. That was transcendent. Put on the weight, did the things he did. And that scene in Miami, after he gets arrested for being with that underage girl, when he loses it on that brick wall and he is so mad at himself, that's a level of manhood we hadn't seen in film before Scorsese shot De Niro going to that level in that film. And that alone, he's a terrible guy through most of the movie, and you have to ask yourself, should he be redeemed? And De Niro makes you care for this guy who's a really terrible dude sometimes, but also with this like really vulnerable heart. And so he does an incredible job in that film. But I'll throw Mad Dog and Glory, and I'll throw Midnight Run in there. Really great stuff he does in both of those movies.
I haven't seen this movie, so I can't speak to it, but I hear Bronx Tale's pretty good too.
Bronx Tale's good.
I hear Bronx Tale's pretty good.
It's very good.
I'd probably go Goodfellas, but Casino, man, he is damn good in Casino.
So good
Again,
in
it's an
Casino.
ensemble movie where Pesci's great, Don Rickles is fantastic.
So good.
Sharon Stone's great. James Woods, before he lost his mind. It's a nice ensemble piece, but I do enjoy De Niro. And he reinvented himself by still getting to play a version of himself with the Analyze This and That, with the Meet the Fockers, Meet the Parents, all that kind of stuff. So good question, Jonathan. We'll do one more, and then I got a game to watch and a trailer to enjoy. Broom Kid says, what's an overlooked thing on TV or in the theater this year? Something that not enough people checked out on TV, or maybe you saw a play or a Broadway musical you liked. Something on TV. I'll kick us off here because I just started streaming. When you flip around the streaming channels and it's like we're just so spoiled as humans, where it's like, oh, Netflix, they give me a million options. I don't really care about seeing any of these. And then I went over to Amazon and I decided to give that Jack Ryan a shot.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty good. Yeah. I'm about 2.5 episodes deep. Yeah, might go a few more, see how I feel with it. But Krasinski,
God, it's hard. I think that for the horror lovers out there, the Haunting of Hill House is something maybe people won't watch it because it's too scary. They've heard it's too scary, so maybe that could put it as overlooked.
Have you seen that other haunted thing on Netflix that I'm too scared to watch? It's like based on real stories.
Yeah, because it was playing right as you're finishing.
Ooh,
and we wanted to watch it. It's like 15 minutes in, it wasn't
Okay.
It was just, yeah. But I would implore you to watch Haunting of Hill House, because though it is some of the scariest stuff I've ever seen, there is a family story there that is, I was crying at the last episode because of the drama surrounding the family. I love that. It's one of my favorite series of the year.
Okay, so we got a Jack Ryan, we got a Haunting of Hill House, John Rocha closing us out.
Well, Patriot is a fantastic show that's on Amazon as well, and not a lot of people, but season 2 is just about to start. I got into it earlier this year and really tore through that whole first season. Thoroughly enjoyed it, but I will say, dating a woman who loves British TV shows, I have been turned on to so many TV shows on Netflix that are British related. Hinterland has been one of my favorite shows to discover. These 2 Welsh detectives solving crimes in very dark, gritty crimes in this world in Wales. It's fantastic, and you have other things that go on. I've just finished Peaky Blinders last night. All 4 seasons I tore through over the last month, and if you're not, it's not getting nominated for Emmys. It's not winning Best Dramatic anything, yet it is one of the most top 5 incredible shows I've ever seen, and nobody nominates it for anything. And Cillian Murphy is doing incredible work on that show, and no one talks about it. No one aside from Makuga talks about this show and how great it is. So if you haven't done any deep dive into the British stuff, Top of the Lake is another one that's incredible. Do yourself a favor, jump into this British stuff. There's a lot on Netflix. It isn't just American stuff. Go find some of this British stuff. It's really interesting how well it's done.
Okay, well, that'll do it for us here at Collider Movie Talk. For Mark, Reilly, and John Rocha. Reilly, you're a Rams guy, so your team's already in the playoffs. Rocha, what's our final score tonight?
24-17 Redskins.
All right. I'm going 30-23 Washington.
Oh.
AP, Chris Thompson back. Crowder might be back. Very excited about that. And we will see you all tomorrow for an all-new episode of Collider Movie Talk. Going to be back live 4 p.m. on the West Coast. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the trailer, everybody. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.